Morning world, it's Monday the 5th of March 2018. It's about 9:30 in the morning. Someone asked me a really interesting question today, bearing in mind I'm talking about strangenesses of birth. How does astrology work with caesarean sections? Caesarean section is an operation where the child is removed from the womb through non-normal birth procedures. There's an incision and the child is literally plucked from the womb. Therefore, it could be said that the time of birth, which is essential to do or pretty important in doing a horoscope, can be determined in advance. So when a woman goes in for a hospital and knows she's going to have a C-section, they say, okay, we're going to do the operation at 10 o'clock in the morning. So she goes under the anaesthetic, and then the operation takes place shortly after 10 a.m. So the time of birth for the child is always going to be determined in advance. Therefore, it could be said that the horoscope is plotted in advance. This kind of rules out any free will and induces a type of fatalism and predeterminism. So how does this fit with astrology, which in my opinion is essentially free will orientated, because I work on a principle that there is no death and that there is life after death and life before birth, and that the soul chooses both the parents and the time of birth. So this raises a number of questions for me as an astrologer, and it points to a really serious dichotomy and incongruity here. And having now done the horoscopes I've been studying astrology 41 years now, and I've been doing horoscopes, I've been doing readings for people 36 years. Yeah, 36 years I've been doing readings. And in that time I've done quite a few readings for children who were born of C-section by caesarean birth. I must have done 100 over the years. And every single time I've looked at a horoscope of a child born by C-section, it's clear to me that they were born at exactly the right time. Now, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? What comes first, the individual or the horoscope? But it seems to me that even in a horoscope of a child born by caesarean, where the time of birth may not be precisely determined to the minute, but it is determined to the sort of half an hour by the surgeons who are doing the operation. And yet, in every case, the horoscope seems to fit the nature of the individual. It may be, of course, that the individual then fits the horoscope of that moment that they were born. And it may be, of course, that there was something else beyond the scope of human comprehension, at least using our ways of understanding, that suggests that no, this was meant to happen like this. It also raises a few simple questions around what is the actual moment of birth. To my experience, the moment of birth is when the individual baby takes its first breath as an individual after the cord has been cut, after it has been separated from the mother. Now, the Indians, as I understand it, the Indian culture calls this prana, first breath, life force. And to me, that's the moment of birth, when the child takes its first breath. So regardless of whether it's born naturally or as a result of a caesarean section, the first breath of a child is the moment of birth. And I am faced with the uncomfortable but inescapable conclusion that in order for a child to have a good horoscope, and in order for a child to have a good life depending on that horoscope, it doesn't matter whether they're born by natural birth methods or by caesarean section. Of course, I would prefer, as I'm sure most people would prefer, all children to be born by natural methods. If not for any other reason than for the health of the baby, because it picks up vital, flora, I think, during the delivery process that help it on its growth in the first couple of years of life. But obviously some women can't give birth naturally for whatever reason. I don't think there's any difference between children born by caesarean and children born naturally. And I think the horoscopes of children who are born by caesarean overall have no difference to those born by natural birth methods. There's always the 1% that's different, because nothing in astrology is 100% guaranteed. But that's my take on caesarean section. Hope that helps a few of you. Catch you later, world. Bye.